6:34, and we are going to open the meeting for public comment, and this is regarding the budget only. Is there anyone who would like to speak to the budget? Yeah, Mary Ann.
I'm Mary Ann Terry, and I just have a question in regard to the donation from Exelon. Is this the very first year that they have given anything to the library?
Well, it's not a donation. It was required by law as a part of the agreement. So it came from them certainly, but not in the form of a let's be nice and do a donation. It's part of our agreement. And I am not familiar with all the details of that agreement they have with all the taxing battles. Yes, it's absolutely the first time we've ever had this, so it was quite a surprise. I believe the letter that we got is in your packet somewhere. It came out like the end of July, 21st of July or something. That's it.
Billion.
Okay, anyone else?
I have a question on category. I think everybody already knows me. I'm looking here at the accounting expenses. 11-month actual. I budgeted last year was 1,000 versus 1,339 actual. And I see that's up to $5,000. Have you made a choice to change accounting firms? Or are you sticking with the same one who, my notion, has not caught anything this far?
So this is a time for public comments, not time for us to.
Well, yeah, I'm not questioning the budget amount. So have
Yeah.
you made an action that's raised that budget amount? I guess is my comment. Is there been a change there, or just wanted to consider that?
Are we allowed to answer? Is that okay, Paul? No, we have not changed anything like that yet.
What agreement are you referring to with ComEd with Exelon?
It's in the packet, and it is it called Faircom?
We belong to a consortium
It's a
with the high
consortium.
schools, the IVCC, and a couple other entities, and they gave a nice amount, really nice amount to the schools, and we were probably about third in line with a nice chunk.
It has to do with the, excuse me, because I pulled it out for you here. It has to do with the annual credit trigger amounts, which is part of the agreement. And if the actual tax bill for a taxing body is less than the annual credit trigger amount, so there's an amount in that agreement, then Exelon owes the taxing body a payment in addition to the taxes, which they call the pilot, P-I-L-O-T, in an amount equal less the amount actually billed. So there's a formula. This letter does kind of explain it fairly well. I don't know all the agreements, so I don't know what the annual credit trigger amount actually is, but they must have gone over that amount and then have to give some of it back.
All right, thanks. I was asking for the people at home. So
Yeah.
they know. Thank you.
Anyone else? Well, if there are no other comments, we'll close the, can I do that, or do I have? Okay, I'll close the public comment portion of the budget and appropriations at 6:38. Okay, I would like to call the regular meeting to order. And my first business item is to, with Carolyn's consent, to appoint her as the secretary of the board. And my second order of business is to announce that I have received Amy Victor's resignation from the Seneca Public Library Board of Trustees, and it is effective immediately. Okay, so we need a motion to accept that resignation.
I make a motion to accept Amy Victor's resignation and thank you for the years of service.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Let's see, made by Weber that we accept the resignation of Amy Victor effective immediately. Weber,
Yes.
Krisheva,
Yes.
Free Partner,
Yes.
Greco,
Yes.
and me, yes, Kinsella.
Are there any corrections or changes to the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on. Okay, it is now 6:40, and the floor is open for public comment. Is there anyone who wishes to address the board? Jennifer?
I had asked a question last time, concerning a FOIA that was done on June 8th, asking for a hard copy of the insurance bond on the treasurer, and the reply was one didn't exist until, June 11th, with a hard copy date on that. And the reply also stated in the FOIA that that was the first time one was ever purchased. So in looking through other FOIAs, noted that you had the director's and officer's insurance. So my question would be, if directors and officers insurance was good enough for the last 20 years, why did we bond the treasurer on June 11th of this year for $700,000?
That's a good question, and I do have an answer prepared, for within the treasurer's report.
So you'll give it to me later?
Yes.
Okay.
Tonight.
Thank you.
Yes.
I gave it that last time, but I would ask you to give it, so I appreciate that.
Anyone else to address the board?
I'd just like to say, I ran last term last time around for a board position, and I'm very grateful for that opportunity, and I think that I would like to extend again, now with another open position, to be considered for a board position. I understand my age possibly might make some people think otherwise, but I have done a lot of research ever since the beginning of this year, and attended all the meetings. I do have family with the library system that has given me some great education as to things we could be doing, or what the board jobs are, and such. So I'd just like to be considered. I'll send in another application, and, they help to give a little more to our community that our library could be offering. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, Faith, we do have your,
Your letter of
Yeah.
interest.
Thank you.
okay, any other comments, please? Okay, hearing none, I will then close public comment at 6:43. The next order of business is the approval of the minutes, and you have part of the minutes. I have the rest of them here. The closed session minutes, which I need back after we have looked them over. Okay, any comments or correction on the July 13th, 2021 special board meeting minutes and executive session minutes? Any comments or any corrections? Okay, hearing none. July 21st, 2021, regular board meeting minutes and executive session minutes. Any additions or corrections? July 27th, 2021, special board meeting minutes and executive session minutes. Any additions or corrections? Okay, I would entertain a motion to pass the minutes.
I'll motion to pass minutes.
I'll second it.
Second, okay.
It has been moved and seconded that regular board meeting minutes and executive session minutes for July 13th, 2021, for July 21, 2021, and for July 27, 2021 will be approved as written with no additions or corrections. So Greco,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Krisheva,
Yes.
Kinsella, yes.
Free partner?
Yes. Okay, treasurer's report.
First of all, thank you very much, Dawn, for all the work and keeping the wheels on and paying the bills and payroll and working with Sheila during the July and August. I very much appreciated that. And starting by looking at the fund activity investment balances. And you can see that our tax dollars have started to come in for this year. Those are directly deposited from LaSalle and Grundy counties into our accounts. Last month, Margie pointed out the interest book on our OSB escalator CD, that it was too much for a current year based on current interest rates, and that is absolutely true. And what happened on that is that the amount OSB reported to us on June 30th of 2020, a year ago, didn't include fiscal 1920 interest. They apparently booked it late. So the interest for that CD in last month's report reflected 2 years of interest, including 10 months, which were at a previous CD's higher rate of interest. So that explains that anomaly, and good catch, Mark. We have a CD, First Midwest, for $311,000 that is maturing at the end of this month. And I would like to recommend letting it roll over with your, I don't know, we've never formally approved these before, but I've certainly always consulted. So unless I hear differently, and the reason I would let it roll over this time is, first of all, the rates are still so low all over that moving it would make practically no difference as far as money. Also, with our new director coming on board next week, it just seems to be yet another thing to add to her plate, because there is some work from the director. And I just didn't want to throw that on her in the first 2 weeks either, unnecessarily.
Would you keep it at a 6-month CD then, or would you do a
don't
12
know.
or?
I don't know. I'm leaning towards the real short-term CDs because I keep thinking
Hoping?
it's got to get better. So
Yeah.
that's why I've been doing the short-term ones. They're sort of a pain because they roll over so quickly. But that's my reason for the short term.
Yeah.
Certainly, if it stays below 1%, yes, it'll be as short as I can make it. So in the financial report, at this time of year, we can't put the percent to budget numbers in for us yet because of our budget not being formally approved or knowing that we're going to be making slight changes. We did not do that. However, the things that I noted on the financial report of interest, thus far, we've spent $1,700 of our $6,000 budgeted this year. We only did plan to allot a few more months. And I expect that our new director, Yana, will be looking at the situation and deciding where we want to move with that. Dues and system fees. If you look down there, that's a big hefty item this month. We paid Prairie Cat $25.45. Rails e-read Access 360 was $1,000. Faircom was $2,000. ALA was $500. So this just happens to be the time of year we paid those bills. Under utilities, the AT&T bill for the phone line was received. And I showed it to Margie and Carol, and I think all of us here have seen it. And we're all pretty dang angry that in 4 months, our one single fax line has gone from $400 a month, and now they want $800 next month. Anna is working on alternatives, and I certainly hope this is a priority. And do you want to say something now, or do you want to wait until?
I actually talked to our Marco rep, the guy that does our copiers. He had proposed we switch out copiers, and in that, I asked him if our current copier that we use behind the desk has the fax option online, like our VoIP phones, and it is. So he sent me over a quote today. Haven't even had a chance to look at it, but it is possible.
So there's a possibility of just eliminating that AT&T
Yeah.
line.
And she has the authority to do that.
Yeah.
You know, call them up and cancel the account
Yeah.
anytime we can.
Yeah, yeah, if there's a way to scan and fax,
Yeah.
That's-
I mean, we had already can scan, so that's just a matter of
good.
the process.
So, the insurance policies, and I didn't know quite where to put the question or the answer to Jen's question from last month. But we have insurance through Crum and Halstead with Liberty Mutual. And prior to this year, it was always our understanding that this insurance covered both employees and trustees. We got this FOIA, and so we called them just to confirm that it covered the treasurer's bond. And they told us that our current insurance did not cover that legal requirement. So we immediately purchased that treasurer's bond. So as a part of the policies application, we answered questions about our financial position, signatories, access to funds, and so they used that to create the appropriate policy limits, which of course led to the amount that we paid for the insurance policy. The policy we purchased fulfills that legal requirement and protects the library from fraud and misappropriation. It's to protect the library. This last week, I saw documentation on our original policy, which also, as Jen mentioned, describes it as covering employees and trustees. So we need additional information from our insurance agency and some clarification about their initial answers to us last month. Anna has put this on her director's to-do list. To get a thorough review of our insurance policies and to ensure they meet our legal obligations and insure the library without over-insuring us. I don't know if she'll manage to get this done in the next few days. It's you know, something that we've been talking about in the last week since I got back, and it should be done sometime in the next few months, either under you or under Yana. So that is the status of that. And that is I think everything I had to say. Does the board have any other questions on our financial reports?
Can we go over the checks disbursement report?
That comes after we do the, we have to approve this
Oh, okay.
first. and then,
Sorry.
Yes. That's next.
Okay, we need a motion to approve the financial.
Motion to approve.
Dawn, Margie?
It has been moved by Dawn and seconded by Margie that we approve the financial report as submitted. Just a minute. I want to make sure I have the motion correct. Thank you. Okay. Dawn.
Yes.
Greco, I'm sorry. I looked at you and then Greco and said Dawn. Greco, Weber,
Yes.
Grisheva,
Yes.
Kinsella, yes.
Free partner.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, on to disbursements. So, up at the top of the checks disbursed, there's a couple of funny little lines that has to do with the end of the fiscal year, putting in, allocating between last year and this year for a couple of items. Obviously, the amount is zero, it has no impact. Other than that, I think I mentioned this dues that were paid. The Sam's bookkeeping service has been a larger expense, in the last few months, of course, because without the director, she's spending more time here doing payroll, doing, checks and things like that with us. We did get the 6 patrons' computers paid for this last month, and I'm assuming you're working on the progress on that.
Yeah, 3 of the 6 are
Yeah,
up and running.
he's been here a couple of times. Any other comments, questions on people? You notice this is a sort of a different format than we used to use, for those who've been around a little longer. We didn't used to have everything on this, and we had the approval of checks dispersed, the interim checks,
Yeah.
and then the
Right,
checks
there used to be,
be approved. And so, and now in reviewing the way we are doing it, it's certainly acceptable under library policy, that all the board needs to do is simply say, yep, that's what you did, we agree. You paid them. So we're pretty much paying bills as they come in. And it has helped a great deal with late fees, and not obtaining late fees.
I had just a couple of questions on RFC net. It says it's on the first page, a 4-month.
Voice over internet, that's our phone bill.
Okay, I was wondering what that was.
Yep, voice over internet protocol.
Okay. And then right underneath that is the United States Postal Service
Yes.
replacement check. Is that what? I'm just-
So I think in their case to send something out, they sent a check with only one signature.
Yes, it just
That
had
was-
mine on it.
That was gone. And so they did not charge us any fee for that, they simply asked us for the replacement check. The other one was voided.
And then on the second page, there is a payment there for Grundy County Broadcasters. I thought it was decided to kind of quit doing the radio spots.
So either it was an old bill or we did something along the line of, the publication of the budget or something. I'm not quite sure which it would be.
That would be Shaw Media though.
Yeah,
Wouldn't that be,
Shaw
wasn't
would
that the
be
last
Shaw
month of
Media.
the contract?
Is that what it was?
I believe it was, because we had a year contract, so I think it was the last month.
Right,
Okay.
yes, because they
All
didn't
right.
renew it.
But it was not renewed, so.
Okay, so that was, just so I have it in my notes, it was the last month of the old contract, and now the contract has ceased.
Yes.
We have not renewed the contract.
Correct. Not.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
A motion to pay the bills?
I'll motion to pay the bills.
And I'll second.
All right, it
Yeah,
has
the
been
thing
moved.
rolling here.
We are, it has
Copy
been
paste,
so
copy
We
paste.
approve, we have to approve the bills now, we've already paid them. So we just
Oh,
approve them.
For approval.
The motion to approve the bills as paid.
Okay, the motion, on the floor is to approve the bills as paid. It was made by Greco and seconded by Weber. Greco?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Krisheva?
Yes.
Kinsella? Yes. Free partner?
Yes. Okay, moving on to, are you finished, Mary? with Everything?
With the financial stuff, yep.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to the president's report. Our new director will be in the building next week, and I was looking over her qualifications again last night, and her education, her background in library management, an MBA, and her years of professional library experience fill me with great confidence that we made a very good decision in hiring her. She has hired, trained, and evaluated staff. She has prepared and administered budgets, been involved in contract and insurance negotiations, has a solid background in library automation systems, and has evaluated, implemented, and maintained various technologies. She has dealt with security issues, policy making, construction and space redesign oversight, collection development, circulation, and reference. We need her analytical, problem-solving, communication, and organizational skills in our library. I am eager for her to be here on a daily basis, providing leadership for the Seneca Public Library District. On behalf of the board, I would like to thank Anna Allison for stepping up as library supervisor and interim director, to Liz Lehner for doing an outstanding job as FOIA officer, but the board really looks forward to the day when she can get back to adult programming. To Julia, who's whipped our website into shape, providing information and updating on a daily basis. To Michelle, who works hard at cataloging, weeding, and ordering supplies. Thanks to all the employees who work diligently to get Michelle's work on the shelves and who have worked on FOIAs when needed. Cheryl makes this building and grounds shine. Thanks to Allison, who has shown us what organization is all about. Thanks to all our part-timers who know and do their jobs well. Our thanks to all the Seneca Public Library District employees who daily contribute to the professionalism that greets patrons as they come through the door, providing patrons with top-notch service.
Would you care to give the new director's name?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you.
Well, I was kind of like talking to all of you guys.
I know.
Yana Serduk. It's S-E-R-D-Y-U-K. Yana is Y-A-N-A.
Is there an L in her last name?
No.
No. And I don't think the Y is pronounced
Right.
either.
Serduk.
Serduk.
Yep.
Okay.
That's okay. I just thought other people would want to know.
Yes. I think we've made a wonderful choice. I can't wait for the community to meet her. Okay, committee appointments, committee chair appointments and committee dates and times. Basically, I don't believe that we have any committee reports at this time, but I would like to appoint Carolyn to the policy committee.
Which is the one that Heather Jenkins was on.
Yes, she was on
Yes,
the policy.
yes.
I think that's a good fit for you.
I do
right?
too.
All right.
I appreciate being on that committee. And I will be serving, do you want me to give the committee appointments?
Well, I have those, I mean.
Okay, that's fine.
Right now, we have Mary and Dawn are on the finance committee, and Mary is the chair of that committee. On the policy committee, we have Lynn and Carolyn now. And Carolyn, I'm going to make you the chair of that
Okay.
committee. You won't thank me after a minute.
Yeah, there we go.
On the personnel committee, it's Victor and Weber. And I'm making Weber the chair of that committee. And on the building and maintenance committee, we have Greco and Hobbs. And Lynn will be the chair of that committee. So what does that entail? Well, you actually are the person who's in charge of the meeting, and you are also the person who does all the secretarial notes for the meeting. So it isn't always a great pleasure to be the chair of something. Okay, and at this time, I would like to say that when our new director comes on board, I plan to talk to her and see if we can't have standing committee meetings. I think that we really need to have standing committee meetings. If we need to cancel one, we can always cancel it. But if it's on, if we have the difficult part of having committee meetings are the agendas. You have a timeline that agendas have to be posted. So therefore, you've got to make sure that you get all these things the way they're supposed to be. So if we have standing committee meetings, we'll know, okay. And I was thinking, basically, I really was kind of interested in the Thursday and Friday after the board meeting here, so that we're only dealing with 1 week. But I can't make that decision without the director's input, because she has to be there also. So I'm there at every meeting, the director's there at every meeting, and the committee. So that's something I would like to have in place by September or October. Generally, my understanding is that committees only met in the summertime. I don't think that's enough.
Right.
And we're in the middle of, especially in the personnel, on the personnel committee, we're in the middle of a huge document that we need to get finished so we can move on. So we're going to have some more meetings here in the fall. Okay. So those are the only appointments I can make at this meeting. Okay, library statistical report.
Okay, so in the month of, well, technically beginning of this month, but July we wrapped up summer reading, all in person. I'm very pleased with the attendance and I pat myself on the back, but it went really well. All of our numbers for each in-person program we did here at the park was great. Probably averaged about 40 to 50 people. Our end picnic, I would say probably had 100 people with our little cutting business. So Liz continued to do her take and make crafts. She had 25 kids claimed last month in July. For checkouts, we had just over 1,700 checkouts for July. It's more than we had in June, at about 1,500. We had more electronic checkouts through our Overdrive and Hoopla, which was at 615 in July. In June, we had 560. So that's still continuing 36 items added to our catalog, and had 19 cards added. Or no, 11, I'm sorry. 11 cards checked out in the month of July.
We are getting popular.
Yeah. And for interlibrary loan, we had a total of 677 items loaned out to other libraries, which is about the same as checkouts for online usage. Any questions for me?
Sounds very positive.
Still going up.
Okay, under unfinished business, we have the auxiliary audit update.
Oh, that's me, sorry.
I just have one thing. I didn't even think about this when I saw the agenda, but we've had so many different conversations about audits. I didn't mean to jump in, but I
No.
think we need some nomenclature here. Because even I looked at it and thought,
I thought, what is that?
yes,
Yes.
exactly. So, I mean, we've had all these different audits talked about. We've had forensic audit, which we said was the, you know, the one to find fraud, which is very expensive. We've had our annual audit, which is the one that, is it
It's
long
in-
A or short A? Zabel or Zabel, I can't remember, but who is completing that.
I was going to say that, and I forgot that in my report.
But that's
That,
okay.
Yes,
That
you were
is-
here and it went well.
Right, so that's our annual audit.
Right.
And then we have talked about this deep dive or auxiliary audit. They're the same, correct, Margie?
Well, I'm not sure where auxiliary came from. It's
Okay.
what we're technically talking with
Okay.
the 3 different firms that I have personally spoke with, and we're working on getting some details ironed out. What it's called is an agreed upon procedures audit. And we as a board have to agree upon certain things like how many years back are we going? What specific areas of the scope of the audit do we want to include? That type of thing. And we are at the point right now, actually, I'm hoping maybe even in the next couple days or certainly next week of gathering the information that they need from us, which is 2-3 years of past audits. We need to decide how many years, and I think we've all talked about 3 being a good way to go, because 2020 was, you know, with COVID was very unusual. So a full fiscal year prior to anything that affected us with COVID. And then they need basically that information to gather, and then they will supply us with estimates. It's not a quote, it is basically an estimate. Usually it's based on an hourly rate and what they think it will entail. Right now, the issue with a lot of them is that a lot of these firms, because especially the one that does a lot of libraries, they are currently in their tax season, kind of. They're very, very busy. So the communication, and I will admit, in July, I did not do a lot of work on this. We had a lot of things going on throughout our board. I'm not making excuses, but life happens. Anyway, so what we are hoping to get from them, once this is done, I fully expect that we are going to vote on this in September on a specific firm and get it going. And yeah, and Allison, we spoke with her the other day. That's the temp that has been going through all the files and organizing, has done an amazing job. Even if we had decided to do this a month ago, it would have taken so much longer to gather this information. So now that she has it organized by year and straightened out, huge benefit in us getting to this and providing them the information they need and get it going.
Margie,
So-
you were talking about the audits from the previous years. Were you able to get those? Are they online?
Yes, I can, yeah,
Okay.
yep.
So does it help if a good amount of this material is sent to them online?
Yes, that's another thing too. A lot of the work that they anticipate having to do, one of the good things that came out of COVID is that there's a lot of work that can be done electronically now. They don't have to necessarily be on site and pay for staff to be here to do this audit. They might have a little bit, but it won't nearly be what it used to be, because now a lot of it is available electronically. So, and kudos to Julia for getting a lot of that stuff online, because that has helped a lot. So, that's where that stands. And it is, again, it's called an agreed upon procedures audit, and it's similar to a deep dive is kind of the slang for it, whatever.
And on this agenda, it was called auxiliary audit. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we've called it a couple of different things, but.
I don't know what it's.
But anyhow,
Let's give it an acronym.
but we want to make sure that we call it exactly what it is and repeat that so that I make sure I have it in the minutes.
Agreed upon procedures.
Audit, okay, I am highlighting that so that I can have
AUP.
it. And that is the term that we will use from now on, just to make it clear what we're doing.
Sounds like a good idea. Okay, thank you, Margie. Moving on to new business, it's time to pass the building and maintenance ordinance, number 21-03.
Do we just need a motion? Does everybody have a copy? Because I'll move we pass the
I was
building
just
and
gonna-
maintenance.
Do you have,
ordinance.
I have my copy, but I've lost it.
I do.
Okay, what I was just gonna kind of read for the public exactly what, not the whole thing, but the highlights at the top, thank you. I know mine's in there. This is the district, counties of LaSalle and Grundy shall levy a tax of 0.02% value of all taxable property for building and maintenance purposes. So this is the building and maintenance ordinance, 21-03.
I move we pass the building and maintenance ordinance 21-03.
I'll second it.
Moved by Mary and seconded by Dawn that we pass 2103 building and maintenance, ordinance 2103 building and maintenance ordinance. Grisheva?
Yes.
Greco?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Free Partner?
Yes.
Kinsella? Yes.
Do we need to do the signing now, or do we do it later?
We can do it later. Let's keep it moving. Before I leave, we'll make sure we get it done.
And it also has to be published.
Right, I saw that.
Okay, are we ready? Okay, point 2, discussion of proposed budget change to accommodate the additional income and approve the working budget.
Okay. Did everybody get their option 1 and option 2?
Yes. No, I didn't.
So we have, under the total property tax, we have an additional line that was added of the Exelon pilot, the payment in addition to taxes of $13,200. The actual amount was $13,202, but our lawyer was quite firm that excessive precision is misleading. So that's why we're doing 200. Option 1 is to split it with payroll staff salaries becoming $331,400, and programming, specifically children's activities and programs going up to $10,700. And that's not an even split. I think in some casual conversations I had telling people that this money was available, and we had initially thought we would evenly split it. But when I went and talked to Liz and to Anna, they basically said that this amount here was about the most they could spend in the programs. Now, we could put it into adult programs, but basically, the years that we had done that included a thing, the Drury Lane Theater trip, and we just don't feel that that's appropriate. And $4,000 in adult programming is really as much as they want or need to spend. Is that accurate representation? So we put it all into children's, but I think Liz wants to focus a lot of that on teens. And just in the interest of simplicity, we said, well, teens are children too. So some of that is going to be directed to older children, but it's going to be at their option. So that is option one. And we're not ironclad bound to these options, but boy, it would save us a lot of work if we choose one of the ones that's pre-printed. Option two is just to throw it all into salaries and increase the payroll staff salaries to $336,100. I did call Yama and sort of feel her out on this, and she preferred to put money back into programs, to restore programs first. So with all of that information, may I motion that we accept option one as our working budget for next year?
That's the split one.
That's the split.
That's the split, yes.
Well, read that split again, please.
Staff salaries would go up to $331,400, and children's activities and programs would go up to $10,700.
Do you have the amount of the 1320 that each one would go up? I didn't mean to put
I
you on
do
the spot.
somewhere.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but
It's on
when
a
I was
sticky
looking
note
at it,
there,
I was
yeah.
trying to, I know you said it wasn't an even split, and I did
It's like
not.
47?
That's what I thought.
Somebody, here it
It's
is.
47.
47 and 85 to salary. Here it is.
Okay, thank you.
Here's a sticky.
And I will add that then into the minutes. If you just hand me the sticky. Thank you so much.
There you go. So I move that we do that one.
I'm in agreement with that. I think, yeah, to split
Do
it.
you want more discussion then on just that motion? Everybody's fine with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, it was, okay. Let me make sure that I have it exactly. Mary Gersheva moved to approve option one with a split of increasing staff salaries 85 to salaries and 4,700 to programming.
I think you probably attached the entire budget.
Okay,
worksheet.
Okay, as
Option
attached, then let me
one,
say it, let me rephrase the motion then. Motion by Mary Gersheva to approve option one as attached for the LaSalle pilot monies. We need to.
To accommodate.
To
it.
accommodate,
Yeah,
okay.
To accommodate it. The working budget.
To accommodate.
This is the working budget that we
Yeah.
will adopt for next year.
I just want to make sure that we all understand what we're voting on. Well, I think with, okay. All right, and it was moved by Mary and seconded by Dawn. Thank you. Okay. Any more discussion? Okay. So then we're going to go Gersheva,
Yes.
Greco,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Kinsella, yes. Partner?
Yes. Okay, we need a motion to pass the budget and appropriations ordinance 21-04 for the fiscal year 2021-2022.
So, before we make this motion, we actually have two options for this
Oh.
as well.
Right.
So we need to
The
do it.
corresponding option is option one. So, I guess if everybody just tears up option two, and then we sign option one at the end of the meeting, I think we're good. I I will, I move we adopt our annual budget, and appropriation ordinance, 21-04.
Using corresponding option one? Do
Yes.
we need- Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, it has been moved by Grisheva and seconded by Greco to adopt Building and Appropriation Ordinance number 2104 using corresponding option one. All right. Grisheva.
Yes.
Greco.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Kinsella. Yes. Free partner?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm sorry that I got all complicated. We normally don't have copies.
I know. But we usually don't have a windfall either. All right.
Okay, we will need a motion to add the proposed incident report form to the general library policy and the personnel policy. Carolyn, would you speak to that?
Yes, I will be happy to speak to this one. The report was created really to address the needs of patrons and staff to be able to formally submit a document that provides all necessary information, and it also provides a chain of command for addressing an issue. These things were not available previously, and therefore if something was turned in or talked to or given to someone, there was no process on how this was supposed to be done. So there is a formal written incident report. It will be included in the appendices of both the library policy manual and the personnel manual, and it will be able to be used by both patrons and employees. It does have exactly, what happened, when it happened, who was involved, describing the exact situation, and then included signatures of the director, the dates that it was received by the director, and if it, as it says here, if the person submitting the form is not satisfied with the director's response or the incident involves the director, the form may be submitted to any SPLD board member as soon as possible after the incident occurs, and then there's a place for the signature of the board of trustee person who receives it and the date that it was received by the trustee. So then there's a form, and it was included, we did discuss this with Anna so that she made sure that you talked about it with the staff, because if there was something else that we were missing here on the staff that needed to be included. And just like every other policy, it's not, it can always be amended and approved, but it is a start for this. So I move that the incident report form as included, is there any discussion?
Well, that comes
After I make the motion, yes. I move that the incident report form is included in the board packet to be added to the library policy manual and personnel manual.
Second.
I'll second that.
I think
Mary was first.
Yep, that's fine, we're all in agreement.
No.
Discussion.
Thank you. That's good.
You're comfortable with that?
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Okay.
Okay. We will go ahead and vote. Kinsella, yes. Grisheva?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Greco?
Yes.
Free partner?
Yes. Okay, update the mask policy to allow the director to follow existing state guidelines.
So I think we made a motion, and I think this is the intent of the motion that we made. I think that there was a little extra verbiage that was included that indicated that masks didn't have to be worn if you were vaccinated, and that was more a comment about that particular status that we were in. So we just wanted to clarify this and clean it up a little bit, so we'll remake the motion if you don't mind. And the motion, as I was going to make it, is SPLD policy to follow state of Illinois guidelines regarding mask use and other safety precautions regarding public health matters. The library director has authority to implement changes in policy and will report status changes to the board.
I'll second that. Discussion?
Any discussion?
It has been moved by Grisheva and seconded by Kinsella that the SPL policy will follow State of Illinois guidelines regarding mask use and other safety precautions regarding public health matters. The library director has the authority to implement these changes in policy and will report status changes to the board. Grisheva?
Yes.
Kinsella, yes. Greco?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Freepartner?
Yes. Okay, it is now 7:30, and the board needs to go into executive session to discuss personnel issues and appoint a new trustee. So we have to ask you please to leave. Not really. Okay, everybody back? Okay, there was no action on the executive session for personnel. I'm going to appoint a trustee, and Carolyn's going to administer the oath and the ethics statement. And I may wait on the committee assignment, I'm not sure. What do you think about that? Okay, at this point in time, I need a motion.
I would move that we appoint Rich Appleby to our vacancy.
I'll second.
It has been moved by Mary Grisheva and seconded by Dawn Greco that Rich Appleby be appointed to fill the open trustee seat. Did I do that right?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see, we will start with Grisheva,
Yes.
Greco,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Freepartner,
Yes.
and Kinsella, yes.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and administer.
Yes, that's not the paper I need. You gave it to me. All right, Rich, here we go.
Got a pen to write
I
with?
just pardon me?
Got a pen to write?
Oh, yeah, we'll fill this out afterwards, but right now you're going to, I do solemnly swear, you can read that off, and then we will fill it out.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of
Trustee for the
trustee
Seneca Public Library.
for the with the blank through the office.
There we go, sorry.
Trustee according to the best of my ability.
Thank you. I will have you, before we leave tonight, fill in the rest of this, we will
Sure,
sign it.
sure can.
And then here's the ethics statement that you can read and sign before we leave.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Welcome. Oh, I think you get to sit at the table now, Rich.
I get to sit?
I think you get to sit at the table now.
I am to sit at the table.
So partake of the wine.
Okay, your committee assignment, I'm going to wait till September to do.
Okay.
And at this point in time, I would like to appoint, with her approval, Margie Weber as Vice President of the Board.
Thank you, Margie.
Need a
Okay.
motion for adjournment.
I motion to adjourn.
I second.
Can we do, you want a roll call again, or, yeah, okay. Okay, Greco,
Yes.
Grisheva,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Kinsella, yes. Appleby,
Yes.
and Freepartner.
Yes.
All right, unanimously approved. Meeting is adjourned at 8:20.